Yeah, hey, good day there. It's Wrench Gear here. And we got another thing going on here with the old truckie here. I came out here yesterday or so to start this thing up. It's been sitting here for, well, probably about a month or so since we've used it last. And no issues at all last time we used it and I parked it here. But he's been sitting here for about a month and I said, I should start this thing up and just let it warm up once or whatever. Just keep things lubricated and whatever it needs. And anyway, I jumped into this thing and I went to start it and the thing barely started. Seemed like it had dead battery condition, slow cranking, barely anything. And I went, wow, what's going on with that battery? That's the original battery in this thing. This is a 2013. And I thought, well, it's a 10-year-old battery. As I'm probably over lifespan on that thing. Batteries don't last that long, but this one is. But anyway, so I started it up. Thing got going. Very, very slow cranking on it. And I thought, well, that's strange. Anyway, when the thing fired up and it started going, that alternator belt started squealing and carrying on. And I went, wow, that alternator's really working hard to try and fill that battery back up. Put such a hard drain on it that it was slipping on that belt. The belt squealing and everything. So I popped the hood and I just pulled the lever inside and was coming out around the front here to lift the hood up and just have a look at it while it was running. And all of us, I got out the front here, came walking around the front here, and I was just reaching in underneath here to pop that thing up, and the smoke started pouring out from underneath. It's smoking and smoking. I went, holy mackerel, what's going on? So I ran back around into the truck here to shut it off, and I just had my hand on the key to turn it off, and all of a sudden, kabang, something went kapop on there. So I came out here and looked, and let's have a look what happened here. Let's open this thing up. We are 5-liter engine in here, and wouldn't you know it, right there is the belt. The belt blew off of it. And I thought, why the heck did the belt blow off of it? And you can see down there on the side of that oil filter, there's marks on there from the belt. I went, what the heck? What's going on now? Always something silly going on with these things. So anyway, you can barely see it, but here's the alternator right here. And right here is behind this lower rad hose is the alternator pulley. And I don't know how well you can see it. Let's stick this guy down in here. Right there, alternator pulley. That's the alternator pulley. And would you know, the alternator is seized. I got my hand on it right now. I'm trying to rotate it. I cannot rotate it. So I don't know what's going on with that. Why would an alternator seize from sitting here for 1 month? But it did. So anyway, what we're going to do is I'm going to roll this thing up onto my ramps, and we're going to crawl underneath there, and we're going to have a look at that and see what's going on. We got to pull that alternator off and get that thing apart or see what we're doing with it. Yeah, so here we are. I got that belt off so that I could start this thing up and drive up onto them ramps there. And I got a couple wheel chocks on the back wheels there. So let's crawl underneath here and see what's going on. All right, so there's the alternator right up above that oil filter there. Right in here. And that's a little bit more difficult than I thought it was going to be to get at, honestly. This thing does need an oil change as well, so I'm going to pop that oil filter off of there when we're doing all this. Oh, I can't get this thing apart here. I'm struggling, people, I'm struggling. I'm trying to get this off. It's got one of these lousy release buttons in the back there. I'm going to throw a, what do I got here? 7/8 7/8 socket onto that that alternator nut, and we're going to see how hard that is to break that thing free. Sorry for my wiggling, I'm just readjusting down here. Okay, and we're going to see how tight that thing. Wow, that thing is tight. Okay, hang on a second. I'm surprised at this. I don't understand why this thing seized like it did here. Okay, let's see what's going on here. All right, this is proving to be difficult. Okay, so let's give it a push. Holy mackerel! What happened to that thing? Wow, I cannot turn it. So let me just readjust here a little bit again. Oh, I cannot turn that. That thing is seized, 100% seized. That is interesting. I have cars that I leave sitting out in the driveway here for a whole winter. They sit here for 6 months and have no problems. And all of a sudden, this thing sits for 1 month. So I'm not sure what's going on there. Anyway, I was thinking, well, you know what, if just a bearing was hung up a little bit, maybe we could bust it free there with that ratchet and get this thing going again, but obviously not. So we're going to have to take that thing right off. I'm going to pull that whole alternator out of there and see what's going on and check it all out. Okay, so let's get started on this whole thing here. I've got the oil filter off down below. It's off and dripping away. Give us a little bit more access to that alternator. So hopefully it's going to be done dripping by the time we crawl down there. A couple of cables on the back of that alternator that are going to have to come off. So let's disconnect this battery so we don't have any sparking going on down there. 8mm, 5/16, whatever. Going to loosen this nut off here. You don't have to remove the nut, just loosen it. Just like so. We're going to pull this negative battery cable off. Oh, all right, we got him. All right, so, if you guys like this this content that I'm bringing to you, these little videos here, give me a like and subscribe, please. It helps me out. And leave a comment if this is the kind of stuff you like seeing. I'm always doing this kind of stuff, so I'll be bringing more to that of this kind of stuff to you if you like what I'm doing here. So thanks very much for that. I'm going to, being we have this thing disconnected, I'm going to throw a tester on this thing here and see what kind of shape we're in for this battery. I suspect this battery is 10 years old. I suspect he's on his way out. Things had a lot of use over the years, so we're just going to check it for the heck of it, and I'm going to get this onto this clamp, onto this post here. I like getting the clamp of the tester directly onto the post of the battery there, so it gets good connection and doesn't have to fight through any corrosion that might be happening between the battery cable clamp and the post. This way it gets good bite rate on the post itself, and this one here as well. So we're going to see where we're at here with this all. So we're going to check. We're going to call this out of the vehicle, in vehicle, out of the vehicle, because it's disconnected over there. Regular flooded, cold cranking amps. This thing is it's a 65 750 cold cranking amp, so we'll bump this up to 750. And we'll let it do its thing here. Okay, so first thing it says there's charge and retest. Yeah, I suspected that. This thing's been sitting for a month, and when I tried to start this thing here yesterday, this battery had to give everything that it had to try and crank that motor over because of that alternator. So anyway, charge and retest. But you know what? State of health is 43%. The thing's way down there. It says it only's got 326 amps in it. State of charge is 40%. It's got some internal resistance going on there, so But anyway, charger retest. I think I'm going to throw a charger on this thing for a day or whatever, and let it bump up, and then we'll do the retest on it after that and see how it turns out. Like I said, this thing's going to be apart for a day or two anyway, a couple days. This was kind of an unforeseen project that got thrown in my lap here, so by the time I get this alternator out, whip it all apart, maybe find parts for it, we'll see where we're at with how long this is going to take. So anyway, we'll get into this thing deeper and see how it goes. All right, so from underneath here now, we're looking at this thing here. Here's your belt tensioner and all that. I think we're just gonna leave that alone. It looks like it's a little tight fitting in here, but I think that's gonna be okay. So for the alternator, to remove the alternator, we gotta get rid of this bolt, taking this guy out, and then the upper bolt is here, hidden right behind this lower rad hose. But I think we can push that lower rad hose out of the way and not necessarily have a problem to get that thing out. I think we're going to be okay on that. And then we'll swing around to the back of the alternator and have a look what's going on there with electrical connections. In the back here for electrical connectors, let me grab a screwdriver here. We have this connector here that's going into wiring harness. And we have this big red guy here that's mounted to a stud on top of the alternator there with a nut. He's coming down from the battery. So why don't we try and get this guy here off first. There's a little tab right here. Just got to push in on that, and that thing should just pop right off. Usually go pretty good. So let's work on him a little bit. There he goes, popped right off. So I pushed in on, where is it here? Pushed in on this tab, and the thing just released and popped right off. So that's pretty easy to do that. So now we just got to go on top and get this, grab that screwdriver again, and get this thing here off. So there'll be a nut in there. This may or may not be easier when the alternator's unbolted from the front out of its brackets. We might be able to get that easier. So maybe we're going to leave that guy just for now, and we're going to work on unbolting this thing from in the front. All right, so first we're going to work on that bottom bolt there, and I'm going to use an air ratchet on this. That thing's that's a 15 millimeter in there. I know some guys are doing this by hand, other guys are using battery operated tools, whatever. I got an air ratchet here. I just got to get this thing done. So all right. Okay, so got this guy out. So that top bolt, I got a right there. See him behind that lower rad hose. I wonder if I should go from up above there and pull that rad hose out of the way with a bungee cord or something and give us a little bit more room to work in there. All right, let me get something figured out here. So I took this upper intake snorkel all off here to give us more room to get down in there to tie that rad hose back. When you're taking this stuff off, be very mindful of this connector right here, mass airflow sensor. These things here, every time you reach down in there, you knock that thing without realizing it. In fact, looking back in this video, I saw that I had already done that earlier when we were messing around down in there at the beginning of the video. This thing is already pushed all sideways and everything. So these things are prone to breaking. So be very gentle when you're taking this thing off. You have to pull from underneath. You pull this red tab back, and then you push in on this black tab, and it just slides straight off. But be careful of them. If you wander around in the wrecking yard and want to get one of these off a truck or whatever, you'll find that every truck you look at, this thing is broken on it, because people smash them things all the time. So anyway, enough of that. We're going to get down into here. So I've tied this, I've pulled this this lower rad hose back to be able to get at that bolt. It's still a little bit tricky there. I think I think I might have to hold this thing back by hand. And I'm going to just do it right from up on top. I'm just going to drop that air ratchet down in there onto that one there, and just give it a shot from up on top here. Okay, we're going to give this thing here a go and see how I can get this. I'm going to pull this rad hose back a little bit here, and I just drop that air ratchet on there again and give it a shot. All right, well, that's what happens when your camera falls down. But anyway, we got that bolt out of there. There it is. Yeah, so that nut on top of that big battery cable is right there, and that's a 13 millimeter. And you have to go in on that one with a socket. A wrench won't fit in there because of that that plastic shield that it has on there to hold that that cap on there for protection. So we're gonna whip that off. Be careful with that thing. Sometimes they're on pretty hard, and you don't want to risk spinning that stud in there to break something more, rip a wire off inside that alternator. So be gentle with that. So anyway, I'm gonna get that off. I'm just using a 1/4-inch drive here. Oh, that one was actually pretty easy. I was suspecting for it to be a little bit more difficult than that. Get in there. I gotta put the socket back on there and spin that thing off by hand. Oh, going out of focus. All right, exciting stuff. Get that off. Call the family around there to have a look at this here. This is good stuff, man. You don't want to be missing out on that. Oh, yeah. All right, there he is. Got him inside the socket. Okay. And we'll pull that wire off. There he is. So this alternator is ready to fall out. It's only being held in there by centrifugal force. Gravitational pull of the earth. Unfortunately, Ford always seems to make stuff so difficult to do that you can't move it and it's stuck. So I'm almost going to have to pry it out of the bracket. So let me work on this here for a bit and see what we can pry against here without breaking anything. There's a great big plastic shield here on the back. You don't want to be breaking that, and I don't know what we can get in on, but I can move the thing by hand, but it just won't. It just won't come out. It's pinched in there. So, all right, we got to work on that a little bit. All right, so this thing here doesn't have a whole lot of wiggle room to it. A little unfortunate that they crammed that thing in there so tight, and it's stuck in that bracket there. But and I apologize for the noise in the background if it's coming around again here. Mama wrenched figured she figured it'd be a good time to mow the lawn here, so she's swirling all around me here on the rider. But anyway, so I took a shot of your favorite penetrating oil there, and I shot it down in here and a little bit in from behind as well, and then again up on top of here, and we're going to get things kind of moving a little bit. So I'm going on here. I'm going to go on here with this pry bar, and I moved them over a little bit. Sorry, moved it over a little bit there. But when you're doing this, you wind up prying or pushing against this cooler line that goes, that oil cooler on the back of the oil filter. So if you spin them around once like that, you can get in on the back of that tensioner and against that boss of that thing, and we're gonna just try and push him over a little bit. And you can see right in there, it appears that he's starting to move over some. So we're gonna try and push him over. and slip him out of there. Anyway, that's what I'm going to be working at. I'm going to put this camera down so I can get this thing going a little bit better. All right, he's starting to move there, moving along. We're going to give him another little shot of this stuff here. And let that get in there, trickle on in. And I'm going to give it another pry. Okay, we got him there now. Let's go back in there, and he's just ready to fall out. So he's going to put it there. It fell right out there. So there he is. He's loose. Not that bad. Nothing. Not that much to it. All right, so here we are looking down from up on top again, and he's just sitting down in here. So the trick now is going to be to try and sneak that baby out of there, because let me get rid of this thing here. Get rid of all of this, because yeah, they decided that that it needed to be more difficult than what it should be. Let me look. What am I looking at? You know, I didn't want to take this tensioner off because I didn't think it would be doing me any good, but you know, I think if I take that off, just that one bolt, I could probably just pull this thing out of here. I don't believe it'll drop out the back because that steering shaft is in the way there. But I'm going to roll underneath there, and I'm going to have a look and see if I can sneak it out the back. If not, I think we're going to go for just removing that bolt there, getting this tensioner out of the way, and digging that thing out of there. Yeah, so I crawled around underneath the back there, and yeah, you can't get that thing out of there. I was spinning it and twisting and turning it, and it's so close to coming out of there, but it just doesn't come out. I even got this thing turned around backwards, for crying out loud. But anyway, so yeah, 13 millimeter on that tensioning bolt there, and here I'm doing it by hand. All right, so we're not doing it by hand. All right, just stick this on there. Don't know why I'm using the air ratchet. Air ratchet's almost about 2 feet away from me. It's like too far to go and get it. But anyway, this is going to be out. All right, that's a long bolt. Okay, so that thing should just hopefully pop off. Oh yeah, it does. Okay, good. And there's a dowel in the back here that's got to slip into a hole right there by the looks of it, to keep this thing from spinning or rotating when the tension of the belt is on. And now I think now lifting up on this here hose, we should be able to get that thing out of there. I'm gonna see how I can do this here with one hand. Okay, so there's probably no easy way to get a good camera angle on this one, so I apologize for this. We're gonna try and sneak him out underneath this bottom rad hose here, and hopefully my arm and my shoulder aren't gonna be in the way for the whole thing. But I just got to get this thing out here. So let's try and give her a whirl. I'll try and hold back my shoulder a little bit just in case. So I'm flexing this guy up again, and we're just gonna try and work him out from underneath of there. See what we can do. Turn him and twist him and do whatever we can do. All right, come on, baby. Oh yeah, there he is. He's trying to flop out. All right, that's it. I think we got him. Yeah, there he is. He's out. Okay, so he's almost out. Come on. All right, there you go. My gonna go like so. All right, so here he is. All right, That thing's actually pretty heavy, to tell you the truth. I'm surprised at how heavy that one is. But yeah, seized, man. Seized. Okay, well, we're going to take him over to the bench and see what we can do with this thing. Honestly, I don't have a whole lot of time to get into this thing. And I do know a guy that I've dealt with numerous times before who's got a starter alternator shop not too far from here. So I might actually just buzz it over to him and say, hey, Josh, take a look at this thing. Open it up, see what's going on, fix up whatever it needs. Maybe it needs bearings, maybe it needs more. Maybe I got to put a whole new alternator on here, or one of his rebuilds or whatever. So anyway, yeah, look at here. This here is the nut that the long bolt goes through, and you struggle trying to wiggle this thing out of here. That looks like that's a floating nut inside that housing. You could probably give that thing, if you were to put the bolt back in there, where's the bolt? Oh, the bolt's underneath on the ground. If you were to put the bolt back in here and give that 1 or 2 smacks with a hammer, a mallet of some sort, I bet you could push that thing back, even if it just went back a 1/16 of an inch or something like that, and open this up a little bit, and it would probably go in there a little bit easier next time. For the piece that goes in there that you got to wiggle this down over top of, I bet you that would work. And then when you tighten it back up, it'll draw that thing back into, that nut back into place. But we'll worry about that when we're going back together with this thing. Anyway, there he is. He's out. All right, so here we go. It's a few days later now, and this is my brand new battery I went out and bought. I'm not going to screw around with that old one in there. The state of health was way down on that thing. I'm not going to mess around with that in the middle of the winter time's coming, and I'm going to be sitting out in the parking lot, and the truck won't start, and I'll be out there freezing, whatever. So anyway, I went and got a new one. So just like the other one, he's a 65, Group 65. However, this one's a 850 cold cranking amps, which is nice. Really spin that baby over. The old one was a 750. So what we got here, $20 cord charge. I gotta take my old one back, get my 20 bucks back. But what I wanted to talk to you about is this sticker. A lot of people don't know how to read that sticker. So this is an X-Side of Canada battery, I believe. Bought it at a local retailer, and I'm not buying it because it's an X-Side battery, although I do think X-Side makes good batteries. But I'm buying it because of the retailer. They give good warranties on these things, and there's lots and lots of stores nationwide. So if I'm out camping somewhere out in the boonies, who knows where, and I have a problem with this battery, there's a good chance that there's going to be one of those stores close by, and I'll be able to get some warranty on it. So that's why I bought this one, as compared to, you know, a different brand, whatever. So, but anyway, going back to this sticker, different manufacturers have different stickers on there, meaning different things. But anyway, this 23 and 24, that's the year, obviously. So, you know, 2023, 2024. The H, they have that for the month of the build of the battery. Build date of the battery is an H. So A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H. H is an August battery. So this thing was built in August of 2023. Well, it's only the second week of August right now of 23, so he's brand new. This thing's only a week or two old. The 2 of the 24 is the month again. Now they've changed over to a number. So 2 is obviously February. February is 6 months since August. So H August to February, 6 months later. So what that means is, if this battery does not sell in 6 months, the retailer is supposed to take it off the shelf, send it back to the manufacturer, and they will charge it and they will retest it. And if everything's good, they will re-sticker it. They'll put a new sticker on there and send it off to usually a different retailer. It'll go back to somebody different because the big major chains may not want this one back. So anyway, that's kind of what's going on with that sticker. So before I throw this thing in the truck, we're going to throw a tester on it there just to make sure that this thing is good. No sense on putting, you know, just because it's good doesn't mean the thing, or just because it's new doesn't mean the thing's good. So let's throw a tester back on here just to make sure that this thing is still good. And we'll pop these caps off. We'll make sure that everything's good before I start putting this thing in. All right, so let's see where we're at here now. Go like this. So check the battery. It's out of the vehicle. And regular flooded. Cold cranking amps. 750, that's from the other old battery. Go up to 850. And we'll let it do its thing here. Alright, so there it says 850 cold cranking amps. It's got 100% state of health, 100% state of charge. He's got 12.71 volts in them. And a little bit of internal resistance, basically nothing. It's a good battery. So that's the one we're going to stick in. And hope for the best on all that. So we're going to pull that old battery out and get this one in there. Alright, so let's get this thing, let's get this old battery out of here and change this thing around. So, similar to this clamp here, we have a nut to loosen off here, 8mm 5/16, whatever you want to call it. No reason to take the thing all the way off. You just gotta make that loose, and we'll give this thing a little wiggle. Pop that off, and try and set this off to the side here. Stuff's all pretty stiff and pretty rigid here. You can't move it that far, but we'll try and sneak that around the batteries there. Over in the side here is a hold down bolt. Goes to a block down and below there to hold it in. Again, that's going to be your same 5/16. And we're just going to screw that out. There's a blanket around this here battery to try and keep it warm or whatever. Anyway, that's coming out just like that. We're going to put this thing back in. We're going to we'll smear a little bit of Never Seas on there to make sure that thing stays good. And that's it. Battery's ready to come out. If we can lift it out of here. These things are heavy. No strap on this one here to lift. That's heavy stuff. And that cable there is fighting me. Alright. Okay. Whoa! Look out now. That thing's heavy. I'll wind up breaking something here yet doing that. Okay. Alright, so here we took this thing here off. Ooh, it's got a Fomoco on it there. So we're gonna slip that, I think, back onto the new battery. Why not? Whatever. And I'm gonna get an air hose in here and blow this thing here all out, and clean that up a little bit. All right, so I'm set up here with an air hose there. We're gonna blow this stuff out a little bit. Watch your eyes now. Woo-wee! All right, good. That'll be good for that. So we're going to set this thing here back into place. This blanket. Get it all tucked in for the winter time. Keep them toasty warm. How does this thing go? Somehow like this. All right, we're going to try and put that in there and see how it works. Okay. Man, these batteries are heavy. Jeez. Okay. You know, that might not work. Or it might. Come on, baby. Hope it's the same size. It should be. Alright. It's trying to go. It's cut on the back corner here. These batteries are heavy. You know, I just actually weighed these things. That old battery was 42 pounds. This new one is about 46 and a half. These are a little bit heavier. They put some extra stuff in them there to get them up from 750 amps to 850 amps, cold cranking amps. So yeah, they're not light. That one's fighting me there on this back corner here with this lousy blanket. Alright, there we got him. Okay, good. Okay, good. So we're gonna run a we're gonna clean up these terminals here, get any extra goo off of them, or corrosion, corrody. Gonna clean him up a little bit. Like so. And then we're gonna go on to here. Good. Okay. Wiggle that on, get him all the way down there. Oh, geez, I'm gonna knock that camera over again. All right, here. Tighten them up. Is this all good? Yeah, that's all good. All right. How's that? Good and tight. Okay. We're gonna clean this one here up as well. We're not going to put that back together yet until we get that alternator all back in there, and this will be about the last thing we're going to do is going to put this negative cable back on. But we're going to get them cleaned up while we're in the middle of doing all this. All right, looks good. Okay. So we're going to put this hold down clamp back on. This guy here. Put that thing back in there. We're going to smear a little bit of this here guck on it so that some never sees on there so that he's going to be good if we ever need to take this thing out again. It's the first time this thing's been apart in 10 years. It came apart good, so anyway, this goes against the battery and notches into the battery here. So the thing came out good, so there's no reason it shouldn't come out good again next time, but it's all good here now. Slip him down in there. Let me wipe off most of that grease on that blanket. All right, there he is. Okay, tighten him up. All right, that's it. He's in. Battery's in. And that's good. All right. Good for that. All right, so here's my old alternator here to go back in. This actually is my old one. Got rebuilt. So, like I said, I didn't have a whole lot of time to do any of this project. Honestly, we've had a medical emergency in the family here, and we've been spending a lot of time in hospital lately, and I just didn't have time to address this. So I handed this off to a guy what I know called Josh, and he went over the whole thing on me there, and put a different stator in here. It's not a brand new stator, but it's a tested good one there. He checked it all out and it's all good. He had the rotor out of it there and put it on his lathe and cleaned it all up there in a few spots. He put new bearings in it, front and back. He put a bunch of new electronics in the back here. I don't know what's all in there anymore compared to what the computer does, voltage regulating and bridge rectifying and stuff. I don't know what's all in there anymore. It's not like the old days. But anyway, he did an excellent job on it, cleaned it all up for me, and it's all good. So if you need any of this kind of work done, look Josh up on the internet. He's at Highland Starter and Alternators. Highland Starter and Alternators. He's in a little town called New Dundee, and we're about an hour west of Toronto in southern Ontario here. So Highland Starter and Alternator, Josh does excellent work. He does it fast. He's only had this for like 2 days, and he had to order parts and everything, and he has great workmanship and great prices and everything. So look him up. All right, so this is that area where this long bolt goes through into what I believe is a floating nut here or whatever. That's just kind of sitting in there. If we can open this up a little bit here, I think that thing will slip on a little bit better. So we're going to slide the big bolt into there. Screw it halfway in or so. So it gets good bite with lots of threads on there, and we're going to smack them a couple times with a hammer, and I think you're going to see this thing move over. So it's protruding out of there by, I don't know, it's not much, 1/16 of an inch, millimeter, whatever you want to call it, something like that. We're going to hit it a few times. Oh yeah, the thing went right back in like nothing. So it's flush. It's even recessed in there a little bit now. It's even recessed in there a little bit now. So when you crank down on this bolt to tighten it into place, it's going to pull that nut back and tighten it up against its bracket in there. So I think that's going to help out a lot. We're going to smear a little bit of stuff on there, some of that never sees or whatever, and hopefully he's going to slide right in there nice and easy. Yeah, he's recessed in there a little bit now, so that's good. Nice. All right, so I wrestled him back down into there underneath that rat hose there again. And I've already put a little bit of the goo on there and a little bit on the back side of that as well. So we're going to put a dab on the inside here. Put some on there. This might just help it slide in a little bit better is all I'm kind of aiming for. Because it was a little bit tough to pry that off of there earlier. And, okay. Gonna go like that. And we're gonna see about just slipping that thing back on there, see how this goes. How easy or difficult this is gonna be. And, oh yeah, it goes on like nothing now. Like nothing. Okay, we're gonna put that long bolt in there and see how it goes. Come on, get in there. All right, I'm gonna have to just adjust this thing here a little bit. Okay. Oh, careful. All right, there he goes. Okay, so we're going to get that one in, and we're going to get this top one in here, wherever it is. Where is it? It's here somewhere. All right, I can't find it. Where is it? It's right there. Okay. It's the one behind the rad hose there, and all right. Let me mess with this thing here for a second. It's hard to do it with one hand because I got nowhere to put this camera, so I got to do everything here with one hand. All right, that's got it right there. Well, it had it. All right, I'm going to put this camera down for a second. I'm going to bolt this thing back in. going to put a hand ratchet on there, and we're going to tighten those guys up by hand. Well, it would have been a good idea to have put that big heavy positive battery cable back onto that stud there before I bolted this thing all in, but we'll do it right now. No big deal. I'll get that on there now. Alright, so that wasn't that bad at all. There, just got that little got that battery cable back on there. I got the nut on there, and we're going to pull that cover on. Okay, that should do that. All right, alternator's all back in. We're going to work at putting this tensioner pulley back on. Where's it go? Right about here somewhere. All right, got that baby in there. Gonna tighten that up by hand so you can feel how tight it's going. I'm gonna tighten up the or already tightened up the alternator bolts there by hand. And oh yeah, you know what? Do not forget to put the wire on the back of the alternator that's on that little black clip there. The 3 wires that are coming into it to run the whole thing. So anyway, you know, be mindful on the back of this this thing here, this belt tensioner, of that little dowel pin that goes in there to locate it on there. That's actually a little bit difficult to get that thing all set up in there, but we got it. No big deal. All right, so we're gonna get wrapping a belt on this thing here now. I picked up one of these. Whatever. Got one of them. That's what the guy gave me. Hopefully that's the right thing. And spun an oil filter back on there, new one, and put the plug back in the drain pan, in the oil pan rather, and got it all plugged up. We stuck 7.5 liters of the good stuff in there, and then we're gonna put this belt back on. Of course, I don't know how it was routed because the thing blew up when it came off. So. And they don't give you a belt routing diagram in here anymore. They used to years ago. There used to be a sticker here somewhere, or whatever, that would show you how your belt went on. Ford doesn't do that anymore. I don't know if other manufacturers do or not, but whatever. So you got to jump into the old book. And we're gonna take a look at this thing here for a 5 liter. And it's the belt on the right there, obviously going around that alternator. So it looks pretty simple, just up and over that water pump, down around the tensioner pulley. Backside goes on the tensioner, around the crank and up to that, over to the alternator. So it all looks pretty easy there. Yeah, so what I did here too was just in case we got a bunch of old belt debris or whatever as it was frying off of there the other day. I took the air hose and I blew into all the grooves on all the pulleys there, and tried to clean them all up just so I don't contaminate my brand new belt. While you're at this point here, this here is the water pump. You might want to just grab this thing here and pull it back and forth. Make sure it's not wobbling or anything if the bearings are out of that water pump. This one's all good and tight. I put this water pump on here probably about 5 or 6 years ago. But yeah, no, he's good. So I'm gonna wrap that belt on there, and I'll come back to you when I pretty much got it on here. There's no good place to put this camera, and I can't do this with one hand. So we'll get on it here, and we'll come back to you in a minute. Alright, so the belt's all on there. 15 millimeter there on that center bolt of that idler pulley, and good long bar on there, so you get good leverage to pull that thing up, and nothing too very simple. So we got all that done, and going to put this whole intake system back on and reconnect that battery. And we're going to give this thing a start. All right, so I got all that intake duct work, all the snorkel all put back on there. And we're just gonna get this battery here hooked up, and we're gonna get this thing going. So just before I hook it up, I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take a volt reading on this thing here, and we're gonna check it out while it's sitting here resting, and then we're gonna start the truck up, and we're gonna check it again just to see what that alternator is doing and make sure it's gonna be in and around 14 and a half would be good for it. So let's check this thing here. So 1269 it's showing there. I think that other tester that I had on before there was at like 1271 or something, whatever, but different testers might be off a little bit. Anyway, 1269, and we're gonna hook this thing up, and we're gonna get them running, and we're gonna see what happens. Okay, here we go. Look out for sparks. Oh, a little bit of a spark. I mean, something must be doing a little bit. All right, so we're gonna get him worked on there. For guys that have a hard time getting these things down and on, find yourself a pair of pliers or something to spread that clamp with and stick it on. Don't ever hit that with a hammer. I see guys taking a hammer and beating the living crap out of these things. Don't hit that with a hammer, because where that post goes down inside that battery, it gets thin down inside the battery there where it's making its connections, and you'll crack that and that battery will be garbage. Don't ever hit a post with a hammer. Never do it. So I'm gonna tighten this guy up a little bit. All right. Oh, look out. Okay, it's all good and tight. I'm gonna stick this on here. Actually, I should maybe leave that off so that I'm gonna be testing that again in a minute. All right, so here we go. We hope he's gonna build oil pressure good and fast, and we'll see what's gonna happen. All right, nice and good. No squealing, no shaking, no nothing. It all looks good. Sounds good. We're gonna recheck this thing here, see where it's at. Look there, 4.55, 14.55. That's excellent, right? Exactly where we'd like to see it. So that's it. That's how you go about doing an alternator and a battery and a belt and all that nonsense on one of these. This video is getting way too long. I didn't think it was going to go anywhere near this long, so I thank anybody who has stuck around here till the end to watch all this through. Thank you very much for hanging in there with me, and please hit that like and subscribe button there for me, and ring the bell and all that whole business, and we'll bring some more stuff to you like this again, and help you get some of your stuff done around the house, I guess. So thank you very much. Until the next one, have a great day.